Well, hey, and welcome there to a special edition of the Forest Park podcast. It's a special edition because I get so many questions from our congregation all the time. Who is on stage? What is their connection to our church? What instrument are they playing? And so this is our attempt to answer those questions. So we're going to meet the band. And today we have with us the incomparable, inconceivable Taylor Hirvo. Taylor plays auxiliary percussion with us on Sunday morning, and he's been on the lead team now for just a little bit. He came into my life a couple of months after my family and I moved to Michigan. So that's 8 years now, which is just incredible. And we became fast friends and have been so ever since, serving in this wonderful church. And since he is on the lead team, he is technically my boss now. So all the questions and all the camera angles are designed to make him look just like the most amazing human being in the world. So Taylor, thanks so much for stopping by the podcast today. I'm going to do some rapid fire questions, if that's okay with you, and then we'll get to know you a little deeper and some more fun topics. So where were you born and raised?
I was born in San Diego, California, but I was raised here in Muskegon. Okay. So family moved to West Michigan when I was 3, and I grew up in Norton Shores and graduated from there, and then after college, came back and been here ever since.
Okay, where did you go to college then?
I got my undergrad degree in materials engineering from Purdue, and then I decided that wasn't enough, and so continued and got my master's at Michigan.
All right, Purdue and at Michigan. Tell us about your parents.
Well, I think they're pretty swell. We've been coming to the church for 25-ish years now. My mom and dad are both just wonderful people. I love them to death, and they've just been a great support through my entire life and have been a great role model for me in helping establish who I am now as an adult and, what I believe in, the values and the virtues that they've instilled in me. And so, I just love spending time with them, and they're great people.
They are great people. We all love Dave and Sandy. And you have a sister, Lexi.
Yep.
Where is she and what's she doing right now?
Yeah, so Lexi is finishing up her doctoral studies. She's finishing writing her dissertation now. So the school part of it is now done, which she's very relieved about. But she recently moved down to Atlanta and is kind of setting up shop there. That's where she's going to be long-term now. And she's just getting her feet under her with her new job and figuring out how to do the actual full-time job and part-time school stuff now. And but she's having a blast. She's her degree is going to be in industrial organizational psychology.
There's a mouthful.
Yeah. So pretty much she is helping companies better understand their people and what makes them tick, what makes them good employees, what makes them want to do work and take pride in their work. So very
cool. All right, and you were just pretty recently married to the lovely Lisa. Congratulations about that.
Thank you.
Haley and I had the great honor of doing the premarital counseling, and I got the great joy of doing that ceremony, service, whatever they call it. I don't know. So how long have you been married?
We got married May 28th, so we're just coming up on 3 months
Just coming up on 3 months. Everything going okay?
Oh, yeah, it's real hard. I assure you, just brutal. Having to, have someone come home when you're done with work and, having to love each other, it's just really rough.
Been terrible.
Yeah.
All right. Sounds like married life is just not working out for you. We'll be praying for that. Tell us about your music background.
Yeah, so I first started, when I was real young. I did piano lessons for a couple years.
Oh, did you? I didn't know that.
Was not exactly my cup of tea. So, kind of dropped that for a bit. And then in 6th grade, I picked up percussion as kind of the band instrument I wanted to play. And so just started playing in Norton Shores Middle School and kept playing and
Did you play any in college?
Yeah. So going up through school, I ended up getting more and more involved in mallet-oriented percussion, which is kind of what feeds back to the piano lessons I took, where it's a lot more musically inclined. We're talking the xylophone, marimba, vibraphone type stuff, mainly because no one else seemed to want to play those parts. They wanted to play, the snare drum and the timpani and, some of the more fun boom boom stuff. Right. And, I was fine with whatever, so I took whatever was left, and that was often what was left, so that's what I got good at. But then when I got to college, I played in the marching band in high school, and then I didn't play my freshman year at Purdue and figured out rather quickly that I missed it. And so sophomore year, I got back into the marching band gig and was on the Purdue drum line my last 3 years in college. And then during the off season, we do concert band or percussion ensemble or whatnot. And so I continued doing all the more musically inclined stuff at that point. And then, after graduating, have been doing more of just the worship service type stuff ever since.
And you weren't a set player at all when you first started at Forest Park.
No. I mean, the grand irony is that was originally why I wanted to be a percussionist in the first place. I was like,
everybody wants to be a cool
drummers
drummer.
are cool. That looks like fun. I want to make loud noises. And so that's why I went into it, kind of thinking, I'm going to do this and I'll get a drum set and I'll learn how to play that and it'll be fun. And then I never did that until I was an adult. So about 2 years ago, I finally bit the bullet and bought myself a drum set and then have gradually kind of just taught myself how to play since then.
Yeah.
So
it's been a bigger learning curve now that you're older, or
I would say it felt a little easier probably than if I had just tried to start with a drum set, because I've been able to utilize a lot of just what I've internalized as a percussionist, even if it has been more of the, classically trained
right
route, just the general concepts of keeping rhythm and being able to kind of separate what various appendages of your body are doing at once, but that's not something that's, specific to drum set playing,
Right.
Your hands are always moving in different ways, and so it's not a totally foreign feeling, but to have everything moving at once and all coordinated is a little bit more than I was accustomed to.
Yes, including the feet is always So can you describe the things that you actually do play on Sunday morning? So sometimes you'll jump on the drum set. What are you mainly on?
So typically I play the congas, which are the two drums that are side by side. There's one lower pitched, one higher pitched, just for a little bit of variety. And then especially during the summer months and when we're doing more of our lower key acoustic oriented sets, I will play the djembe, which is the larger single drum that you usually play while seated.
All right. So those are the most common questions I get. What is that guy playing? What are those things called? Are they bongas? Are they what? Okay. The congas and the djembe. All right. So I have been your friend for a while. I can't wait for you to answer this question. I've been your friend for a while, and you are good at so many things. I want to know, what is one thing that you are not very good at?
Art. I cannot draw.
Really?
Yeah. I've tried on a variety of occasions, doodling or whatever, but it's just never been my thing. Like, I don't dislike it. I don't, I have an aversion to it outside of knowing that I'm not good at it, so I don't actually want to do it. But, yeah, I've just, I don't have that great, artist's brain or whatever, where you just sit down at a blank canvas and go, I see it, and I go. Like, I just kind of, put a line there, and I guess I'll put a line here, and I don't really know what I'm making, but it's something. And
All right. That makes me feel so good. All right. He's not good at art. This is great. Oh, good. All right. What is your favorite book and why? Yeah, if you can have a favorite book.
oh, I think if it comes back to it, I think my favorite book is still the Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Ooh, okay.
I really appreciate what Victor Hugo does with the painting of various characters in that, and how no one is good per se. Everyone has a very clear flaw to them that they never seem to be able to realize.
Okay.
The world that gets created, I find to be fascinating, with it being both in a historical setting of, it's all based in Paris, obviously around the Cathedral in Notre Dame, but also adds the fictional, whimsical side of it with, creating these fictional characters and the world in which they exist. And it's quite different from the Disney adaptation. But just the philosophical study of what is love, what is devotion, I find very intriguing, with kind of the dichotomy between Quasimodo and Frollo, and just how they grow into each other's characters, and then obviously you get into more of the storyline of how their lives kind of get intrinsically intertwined and are then from then on just kind of stuck.
Wow.
So
very, very cool. All right. What does your morning routine look like? Are you a get out of bed in the morning at 5 a.m. and exercise and seize the day kind of guy?
No. No.
Okay.
I'm a alarm goes off, snooze, alarm goes off again, snooze again, alarm goes off a third or fourth time, realize I should probably go to work at some point.
All right.
And then roll out of bed, make breakfast, get my lunch prepared, and get out the door.
Because you're a pretty physically fit guy, obviously. You can see this special. So you're not a morning workout person whatsoever.
No.
All right.
Yeah,
that
workout is always right after work and, before dinner.
Right.
And so, I get that in, and then we go throughout the rest of the night after that.
Okay, but not a morning guy.
No.
All right, that's good to know. What is one thing that people are generally surprised to find out about you?
I'm not really sure. Like, I don't feel like a ton of people are terribly surprised when I talk with them about stuff. I don't feel like I'm a terribly closed book when it comes to talking with people. I generally, am quieter in larger conversations. But one thing I think people might not recognize right away is the sense of humor I carry, and how after I get comfortable in a situation, obviously I kind of open up a bit more and let a little more of that out.
Uh-huh. All right. Yes, he is a deeply, deeply hilarious person. Do you have something that you think is true? Like, it's a deeply held, entrenched belief, like aliens are real, that almost nobody else agrees with you on?
No.
No?
I mean, I don't think there's any hills I would die on that are not like a fairly common.
No deep conspiracies in
No.
your life? All right.
No,
I was
no.
just curious if you wanted to let the people of the Forest Park know that if you had any deep. Okay. All right. So let us know a little bit more about your influences. So you talked about Victor Hugo. You spoke about your parents. If you could have dinner with 3 people that were dead or alive, who would they be and why? And out of those, who would you look up to the most?
Oh.
Yeah, big question.
Oh. first, we'll just pull back from history a bit, and we'll go Abraham Lincoln.
Abraham Lincoln, all right.
You know, classic pick, but I think he straddles the line between the America that was originally and where we're at now, and I think it'd be fascinating just to understand his philosophy and his mindset behind politics and what strife looks like within a nation, because I don't think anyone understands that better than he does.
Sure.
Second, let's another kind of classic pick. We'll pull Einstein into the equation here.
You would get that from a scientist.
Just being able to understand and listen to him kind of philosophize about the world and the universe and how things work together. Just the mind that he has and the influence he continues to have even within our modern physical studies. Time and time again, people come back and go, oh, well, I guess he's right about that too. Not that he's right about everything, sure. But it's very impressive how much he did predict based on just purely math and theory as opposed to, proven observations. And third, I feel like we have to round this out somehow. Oh, boy. Yeah, for contrast, let's put Billy Graham in there too.
Billy Graham. Yeah. Oh, all right.
Yeah.
So we got a president, a scientist, and a spiritual leader. Okay. What about Billy Graham?
Just, I think it's his influence on the growth of evangelicalism in America is fairly unparalleled. Mm-hmm. His outreach, his ability to touch the lives of countless people during his evangelizing was just incredible, and I think it'd be intriguing to be able to kind of pick his brain a bit about what makes him tick, what does he see as the ultimate goal of the evangelical message, and just being able to better understand what drove him to be just the massive presence he was in American culture, not just within the Christian culture, but, right. I think if there's any Christian that the general American population knew and could name, it'd be Billy Graham.
Absolutely. Yeah. Unparalleled influence. I like the way you put that. If you could go back to your 18-year-old self, what would you tell him?
It's okay to be wrong.
Oh, really? You had a little bit of perfectionist tendencies in there as an 18-year-old?
Just a little. I college finally taught me that lesson a good bit. I learned that lesson very quickly there, but it's something that I've continued to learn and kind of deal with as I've gotten older is being wrong is a good thing in a lot of aspects because that's how you learn. You can't just be right all the time, and because oftentimes the things you learn the best are the things you screwed up on.
Absolutely.
And so, kind of finding a way to reconcile the desire to be right with the understanding that I won't always be right.
Right.
And that's okay, that's normal, and it's healthy, and allows a lot more introspection and personal growth out of being wrong. So
fascinating. Awesome. Going back to your career, you have your degree in
materials engineering.
Materials, not industrial engineering. Sorry, materials engineering, and you work for?
I work up at Helmet Aerospace in Whitehall.
Howmet, and you've been there for
We're coming up on 8 years
coming
now.
up on 8 years. That's kind of what I thought. What's been the most memorable moment of your career at Howmet?
I've been involved in a lot of kind of fun projects. I got hired in as a process owner. So when I walked in the door, I was immediately in charge of, $25 million worth of equipment and, 3 plants that I had to cover. And so there was a lot going on at the time. But I think the first real big project I had was to get a automated component that we had just recently purchased before I hired in. It was my duty to get it up and running and production functional. And I spent many hours working on making that happen, having no knowledge about how robots work.
Wow.
So it was a grand learning experience. In the process, I got to, connect with a lot of people. I got to learn a lot about how the business functions and all that stuff. But it was really the first major, job-oriented project I've had that was, at the end of the day, I look back and go, oh, I did that. That was mostly me. Huh. Neat.
And that just sticks in your mind as being... Okay, I contributed. All right, so since we both play on the worship team together, what is it about worship music that inspires you? And then what do you think that we are trying to accomplish together as a worship team while we lead our congregation here at Forest Park?
For me, I think a lot of it comes down to the aspects of surrendering. Just being open and vulnerable in a place with God and being able to verbalize and vocalize that openness, I think is just incredible. As a leader of worship, I think it always comes back down to being able to contribute to the worship experience of others without being a distraction. So, being proficiently excellent in the musicality,
yes,
but not being overly exuberant or potentially distracting to the people as they try and connect with God.
Right. That's our whole job. Get out of the way so that they can get to know and be moved by the Spirit. How's it been serving on the lead team?
It's been very interesting. As someone who grew up in the church and is still on the younger side of life, I think I kind of have a unique perspective because I remember a lot of, the way things were. I remember the church back before we had the children's wing and back when the gym had carpet in it. And,
Wow.
I have a lot of, back when we used slide projectors instead of computers to display the lyrics on our on our screen. So, I remember a lot of where we've been, but, it's fascinating just being able to be a part of such a multi-generational team who, obviously everyone on the team loves the church, is committed to the mission we have, and just being able to interact with them has been a great joy of mine. And it's also really encouraged me to kind of branch out a little bit and get outside my comfort zone.
Sure.
When it comes to social interactions. And, I've felt, I want to say obligated because that kind of has a negative connotation, but I felt more inspired to reach out and talk with more people before and after service and whatnot, just trying to get to know them better, get to have a better pulse on what the congregation of the church is really moving toward, where their hearts are at, and how we can use that information to make better decisions for the lead team.
All right, awesome. And what are you most excited for about the future of our church since you've as you said, you've watched it change so much over the last couple decades.
Yeah, I mean, to me, the ministry opportunities we have are always the things that really get me jazzed. Not only the great stuff that Elena and Justin do with our kids and our youth ministries, but just the variety of opportunities that we continue to put onto the table for adults and families and whomever to reach out into the community and be the hands and feet of Christ. Just the ability for us to have the capacity, have the means, have the people, have the volunteers to go out and help with this stuff, I think is just such a great thing. And that's really what continues to excite me about Forest Park is, we do care deeply about people here.
Yes, we do.
And, just being able to continue that mission of outreach and expanding that even more to touch the lives of those who need our help.
Amen. Well, Taylor, again, it is such a privilege and blessing to be your friend. It's awesome to be able to serve with you every Sunday. So excited that you have been married, and I'm grateful to God that brought us together, and we're going to keep journeying.
Yeah.
Taylor Hirvo, meet the band.
Thanks for having me.